There is no heaven, there is no hell, there is only this world and its dark reflection. And we do not know in which of the two worlds we are.
Well, it's time to wake everybody up. Live from New York, it is the Coffee Club.
Can we do something about that, please?
Live from New York, it is the Coffee Club with your host, Felix.
And an embarrassed Dr. Mark.
And why might you be embarrassed?
Because we're live.
We're live. And we also take calls when we're live at 646-595-3275.
Well, we take limited calls, don't we?
And we're also...
Let's be honest, Felix.
Wait a second. We'll also have a chat room. And I see there's somebody in the chat room now.
It's probably the same person that makes a mistake all the time, and then they leave.
Wasn't going to chat, yeah. They're waiting to see, where's the chat? What are we chatting about?
Well, why don't we tell them what today's show is about?
Today's show is about us.
Well, it's about anything you want it to be, really, right? The show about nothing.
Yeah, today's show is about us.
It's about friends,
enemies,
and relatives. And you know what they say, you pick your friends, not your relatives. Okay, but some relatives can really be friends.
You also don't pick your enemies, do you?
Well, you say one or two things the wrong way, they look at you askance, and they become your enemy.
There's certain people that I've, in the past, that I had nothing against. I've never met them, but I looked at them and I just don't like them. Did you ever get that?
Yeah, every time you look at me.
Oh, okay. Well, at least we know it's mutual now.
The only reason you have me here is because I am the unpaid intern who does your bidding, like make your coffee and tidy up around the place.
And you're doing a poor job, I may say.
Well,
my coffee's cold. Nobody dumped out the...
I can't help that. It was hot when I brought it in. If you choose to drink it a half hour later, what do you expect?
I expect you to bring me another fresh cup of coffee.
So what do I call you, a frenemy? We're friendly enemies?
No, you can call us cousins because this is the way relatives act.
That's very true. Every Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, Passover, high holiday, Jewish high holiday, you name it. In fact, if you were to ask some people, they will tell you that they really dread family gatherings because there's always an argument that's going to ensue, be it about religion, politics, or just current events. Everybody wants to get their voice heard.
That's true. And you...
And me more than most, right? Exactly.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm going right down and asking our person who's chatting us if he's friend or foe.
Well, actually, why don't you ask them to identify? Who are you?
Nah, this show, we keep it anonymous.
Well, first name. They know who we are.
They do? My name is George. What's your name?
Well, I thought you were Larry. I'm Mo. Where's Curly?
Curly?
Actually, I think...
What?
Hey, Mo! Hey, Mo!
Hey, Larry! Anyway,
Oh, wise guy, huh? Anyway, as you can see, Felix and I are very skilled at making total fools of ourselves. That's what we love about this show.
We can make fools of ourselves and nobody knows who we are.
That's exactly true. That's what I was going to say. No one can see us.
They say the worst enemy is the anonymous enemy because you don't know who your enemy is. And they
Well,
can,
no, I would say your worst enemy turns out to be your friend who turns against you.
yeah, that's true.
Okay,
Yeah, I
either
agree.
that or, if somebody is a blatant enemy, they will let you know. They're not afraid to let you know. It's the one who pretends to be your friend and then stabs you in the back, like Brutus did to Caesar at the Senate. In fact, last week was the Ides of March.
Mm-hmm. The Brutus did him in. I wonder if that's why they call him Brutus in the Popeye series.
No, that's Bluto.
Oh,
Bluto.
Pluto. Yeah, that's right.
No, Pluto's a dog.
Pluto's a dog. Yes,
Bluto.
And I had a dog named Brutus,
Okay,
and he was a Great Dane,
I could see that.
and he was big dog. Didn't like to be tied up
Well,
or confined in any way.
would you like to be confined? Come on.
He used to chew his way out of, chew the doors open to go outside.
I'd like to see you in an 8x6 cell.
No, he
You
was
know?
in a big facility, but didn't like it there. Too much. It was too humid, I guess. Used to just chew right
I don't
through
think
the
you got
door.
an answer from.
No,
I think he. You know what? I think he's spying on us.
well, I'll tell you. No answer means he's probably family. They give us no respect anyway.
Well, I don't know. I know I try to get my kids to listen to this show, and they laugh.
Whoever's on the chat room probably thinks, "Where are the women?
Not in this room, fella.
This is a coffee club. I want to meet some women."
Not in this room. If it was the Russian tea room, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're looking for.
Speaking about Russia, how do you like Putin's latest move? He's annexing. Well, not that it's such a surprise. He's annexing the Crimea.
Well, he did that a long time ago.
He wants.
just-
He wants to make the empire. Rebuild the Russian empire.
Well, wherever there's Russians, he wants to make it part of the Russian Empire. And it's, I don't know, I mean, him annexing Crimea, as I told you in the beginning, he needs that area. He needs the port.
He needs the ports, exactly.
So he's going in there, and I said he's not going to get out. They masked, unmarked men with weapons.
Well, according to him, anybody could rent a uniform.
Yeah, exact. Masked, unarmed men stormed the ship that was a Ukrainian ship that was I guess in the port, and pulled down the Ukrainian flag and put up the Russian flag. But they're armed, unknown. They just happen to like the Russian flag, so they put it up.
I like the colors. What can I tell you? But anyway, folks, remember this is 646-595-3275. We are desperate for phone calls.
Not really. Listen, if you're an enemy, I'd rather hear from an enemy than a friend right now.
Oh, we could make a friend and enemy.
Oh, I've done that.
Actually,
times.
I spent a few minutes, you saw me before the show. I was texting some people, relatives, friends, anybody to tune in, maybe join the chat room, call up, let us know what you think. But I will tell you, I saw 2 tags on Facebook that very meaningful. One tag says, "You never forget the kids you grew up with from the neighborhood, the old neighborhood." And that's true. Ask any mafia boss, they'll tell you. You never forget, truly, you never really forget. Old friends tend to be, in many cases, the best friends. It's rare, such as in Felix and myself, where you meet later on in life and you become close friends.
That's true.
But usually, and then the other one was, if you're friendly with somebody for more than 7 years in a row, chances are you'll be friendly with them for the rest of your life.
I believe that.
You know, and again, with stated exceptions, because it's happened to me where it wasn't true, really. One thing or other happens, passes, and something happens. But I know that with my friends, there was a time period when, after we all got married, the first time, mind you, we all sort of, well, some of us, I drifted away from my friends, and, we happened to meet. Strangely enough, my wife at the time and I were traveling through Massachusetts, and I looked up my friend who was living in Massachusetts. I said, how many people of that last name could there be? And sure enough, I called up, and his wife at the time, who is no longer his wife, thought it was a phony phone call, and she hung up. So then I called back again, and I said, why did you do that? So we rekindled the friendship, and we've been friends ever since, again, okay? And another friend who I lost touch with, we were both teachers. We met.
Wake me up when you're done.
I'm sorry. This is the last one.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. And my other friend, I met in Freeport at unemployment when the teachers were laid off back in 1976. We were both standing on the unemployment line, and that's how we rekindled our friendship.
Mark, I know you've got a little bit of a short-term memory problem.
What was that?
But as far as long-term, I see no problem with you.
Oh, no, the doctor said long-term memory is terrific. I could tell you something that happened 20 years ago, but I don't remember what I did yesterday.
I understand. I don't remember what happened yesterday or 20 years ago.
Okay.
Sort of, it's a good handicap. I don't,
And then I have two other friends that we just rekindled a couple of years ago, and we get together once a month or once every 6 weeks, and we go out to lunch and see a movie and have a great time. We just talk about old times, talk about what's going on in our lives, children, that type of thing.
Okay. Now, one of the things
I'm done.
You're done? Okay.
I need a breath.
Okay, one of the things I want to say is I have to apologize to a friend of mine. I'm not going to mention any names, but I'm sure he knows who he is. I did something today that upset him very much, and I don't think I realized what I did. And maybe
Do you ever?
Hell no.
Do you ever think before you open your mouth?
I don't think before or after I open my mouth.
That's what your wife says all the time. My wife tells me not to open my mouth, period. Actually, that's what I told her.
Yeah,
I'm always wrong.
I don't think before or after. It comes out, and then 2 hours later, what did you just say?
Yeah, but then with your short-term memory loss, you don't remember what you said anyway.
Exactly. So I said, you can't blame me for saying anything if I don't know I said it.
Exactly.
Will they convict you for murder if you don't remember doing it?
That if you're a sleepwalker, who knows?
Right. Well,
That's true. If you're a sleepwalker, think about it.
Yeah.
You commit a murder. According to renowned psychologists and psychiatrists, you really don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You can't be held accountable for things that happen. And I tell my wife, I can't be held accountable for eating stuff in the refrigerator if I don't know I'm doing it.
Well, I'll tell you, and I can't, and I do a lot of sleep talking, so can't blame me for that.
Well, you better
either.
be careful. You may say the wrong thing while your wife is up, and then you may find yourself like, she may pull a Lorena Bobbitt on you,
I don't know, you see where my eyes were going?
Yes, I did. You see, I don't have to go down there because I can't see it anyway.
And I'm not worried about it. I don't have anything down there of any use any longer.
Well, that's very true.
But anyway, again, I apologize for anything that I may have done to hurt you. And there's nothing I can do about it, but I do mean...
Well, I think a trip to Harold's would be in order.
Trip to Harold's is always in order.
Still pushing that, mind you. Still pushing that.
By the way, I guess our friend who logged into the chat room got tired of listening to the show. He logged out.
No, I don't know. Where else is he going to find two people making such fools of themselves? I mean, I admit we don't have sexy voices like some of those other hosts and hostesses,
Sexy voice. I can't stand listening to my voice.
No, I said we don't have.
I said, yeah, I said I can't stand it.
I remember the first time when my older cousins, got the old reel-to-reel tape recorders. Did somebody type in? Did we get a question? Hello?
Somebody by the name of Robbie NK logged in. Okay, let's just see who.
That's Robin.
Robin? Is that Robin?
That's Robin.
Oh, how about that? Okay.
Well, she said she doesn't like to call up, but she said she would log in. Hey, that's great.
Okay. Yeah, I see that. The chat room works.
How about that? How are you doing, Robin?
She just hung up on us.
She's not there anymore?
No, I don't know. I'm just kidding.
Oh, I'm sure she is. She'll listen for a little while, and then she'll get tired and fall asleep.
Well, listen. If I was listening to the show, I'd get tired and fall asleep also.
I find it difficult staying awake listening to you. You do so much talking, you know.
Yeah. I do so much talking. Oh, yes.
What was I saying? I don't even remember.
I'm going to take a break from talking.
I think you talk too much.
You think so?
Yeah, whatever you're trying to press there isn't working, there, fella.
Of course it is.
Here.
Hold it. I didn't have...
That makes me angry.
My ears on.
And when Dr. Evil gets angry,
Ah,
Mr. Bigglesworth
Robin
gets upset.
says she's trying
And when
to
Mr.
type,
Bigglesworth
but she
gets upset,
can't. There's something
People
wrong.
die!
Well, that's on her end. I don't know what... It's supposed to be on,
Well, I tell you...
We're showing her as an online user, and did she see what I wrote?
Well, you know what happened? She probably clicked on, and that's why it said Robin K. But she hasn't typed anything because nothing is coming up.
She has to enter the chat room. And no, did she see my note?
I have no idea.
Anyway,
All she says is, I'm trying to type, but I can't. Now she's in the middle of typing something.
okay, let her type and see what happens. Anyway, thanks for listening, Robin. We always like to know that at least one person is listening live.
She said she can't. She says, I can see the note. She can see what you're typing, but I don't think she can type a response.
I don't know. It's supposed to be able to, but I don't know. I can't tell you.
Well, we'll have to take it up with our
Technical
department. And I think I'm staring at our technical department right now.
You are.
The editor, the producer, you're everything.
And you know the technical department says, duh. What's up, Doc?
Give yourself a little credit. I know I couldn't set this up.
Neither could I. That's why we're broadcasting like this.
Hey, listen, we started on time, didn't we?
We started.
That's a plus. How many times have we done that in the last couple of weeks?
I don't know. We did it last week.
I don't know. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
numbers
we did.
stink.
And we did it the week before. The numbers stink also. The days were late. The numbers are good.
Yeah, I don't understand this. Monday we talked about pets. Everybody's got a pet. Everybody loves pets. What did we talk about last Friday? Do you remember?
Veggies, vegetarians.
Well, that I could understand. Very few people really are into that stuff.
But when we spoke about Vladimir Putin, had a great reception. Very.
I think that was the week before.
Yeah. Anytime we speak about religion, we have a pretty good response. Even though we really don't talk about religion per se, but
Yeah, we have to do a show on religion. Just atheists, agnostics. What's your belief? How do you feel?
I think we've done that before.
I think we did, but, you know.
Do it again.
You think they know?
Nah, they don't even know who we are. Are you kidding me?
That's right. We could walk down the street unaccosted by anybody because our anonymity is...
It's well protected.
Yeah, exactly.
It's well protected. The other thing I was going to talk about is what I'd like to talk about is maybe a little bit about the Holocaust. Maybe one show devoted to that, or at least part of it devoted to that, since, you know, I'm a direct descendant. My mother was a Holocaust survivor, and I also call her a victim at the same time.
I read something very interesting also on Facebook. It's amazing. Some of the things you read on Facebook are really interesting. I wouldn't say everything, but some things. Claire Booth Luce, the founder of Time Magazine, back in the 50s, was at a luncheon or a dinner, and a Jewish journalist, renowned journalist, was there, and he was supposed to be one of the keynote speakers, and she happened to say to him, I don't understand Jewish people. Why can't they get over the Holocaust? And he said, and move on with their lives. And he said, he thought about it for a while, and he said, you know, he said, I guess for the same reason that Christians still talk about the crucifixion. You know, when you think about it, you know, they're always talking about the passion and the crucifixion of Jesus, you know, and that's going on 2,000 years already, you know. So he's saying, in other words, he's going tit for tat, you know, because it's an event that you must remember and discuss, the Holocaust, just like the crucifixion. But it seems like you guys never get over talking about the crucifixion every chance you get. You know?
The problem is with the Holocaust, there's too many people denied that it ever happened.
Well, and with every passing day and every passing year, more and more of the survivors are passing away, and soon that's why it's so important to keep their legacy and memories alive, such as the Jewish Museum in Manhattan. But this has nothing to do with Friends. You and I are shooting the breeze here, killing time.
No, that's not true. My mother was family. My mother was a Holocaust survivor. And as I said, she's also a victim of the Holocaust because when it was over with, she was never the same. She couldn't lead a normal life after that.
I don't know of too many people really that are ever the same. I know my uncle is down in Florida seeing a lady who was a very young child. She still has her number on her arm. And she goes to schools and gives lectures about the Holocaust. And, you know, it must be difficult because you never forget those memories. Those memories just seem to linger with you.
You know, it's for those who survived, they were threatened with death every day, and they saw, if they survived, they saw most of the families die in front of them, and it's got to be a horrifying experience. But, you know, a lot of people forget there are also 10 million Russians that died during World War II.
Oh, there were over 20 million people that the Germans did away with. 12 million, of course, were Jews, but there were religious objectors, conscientious objectors, people who were emotionally challenged, you know, people who, the old term used to be retarded, okay, which we don't use anymore, of course, Down syndrome, gypsies, you know, people, anybody really who wasn't a pure Aryan.
As I said, 10 million Russians. And how many Jews did you say? Not 6 million, 12 million?
I don't know. I think I said 12, but I think 6.
So, that, yeah, you did say 12. I
did say 12, yes.
Well, let's not, we had enough die with. Let's not make it any worse than it was.
I mean, the Jewish population is such a small percentage of the world now.
Yeah.
You know, there are more Jews in New York than there are in Israel.
And Robin has logged off our chat room.
Well, that's okay, because if she has anything to say, she'll send me a text, so that's all right.
Yeah,
I don't hold it against you, Robin. It's okay.
I just don't know why you can't.
There may be something wrong with the chat room.
I don't know.
Maybe that mysterious person logged off because he couldn't get his 2 cents in. Who knows?
I have no idea. I haven't seen. I've never seen a message on the chat room. We only started. We only even realized it was open last week. It was the first time we ever opened it, and we have people logging in and logging out after a while. Usually, after I send them a message, they log out.
Well, they're surfing. That's what they're doing.
They're realizing this isn't a real lively chat room. You know, if you log into the chat room in the next 20 minutes, there will be a hooker, a stripper, and a teaser on.
A taser.
A taser.
In any event,
but I will not tell you if there are male or
we
female.
are talking about you, folks. We're talking about us. We're talking about everybody. We're talking about friends, relatives. You know, the old cliche, you can pick your friends, but not your relatives. Although, as I said to Felix, sometimes, you know, relatives actually do become friends. It's, I guess, a rare occasion, you know, because with people relocating and living in different places, you know, it's funny. You can have somebody living 20 minutes away from you, you know, a family member living 20 minutes away from you, and they might as well be 600 miles away because you never see them.
Right.
You know, and by the same token, you may have a relative or a friend who is 1,300 miles away from you, and you talk to them all the time, and you travel to see each other. You know.
Yeah. You know, it's funny, though. People are habit, especially the older people, are creatures of habit. You know, my mother and father-in-law have 3 kids that are out of town, plus my wife who lives here, local. And they only call their out-of-town kids maybe once a week because it's a long-distance call. Even though they realize that there's no charge to it. It's just been programmed in for so long that long-distance calls that they don't call.
You know, it's funny you say that because when my aunt was alive, my older cousin's mother, my 2 older cousins, it was their mother and father. When you would call my aunt, their mother, she would never call back. She was always waiting for you to call, and my cousin Steve would say, well, that's obviously, he said, that's because, he says, you don't expect her to call back, do you? She still thinks that you're paying for phone calls, you know. So, but it's very true.
No, I know it's because it's just funny. Because when was the last? I go to on purpose. I do it. Sylvia, when was the last time you speak to Bruce? Well, you know, he's in California maybe once a week. It's okay. You know, there's no logic behind it actually anymore. There used to be logic behind it, but now it's all the same. But still, people don't change. Yeah. Anyway, wait, Mark, this is an unusual moment as I'm looking at you. You look like you got a blank stare in your eyes. You have no idea what to say next.
No, I don't. Basically, you know, I mean...
Well, whenever that happens, we're going to say,
Are you mad?
Not Austin Powers, I hope.
what was that?
I didn't hear anything.
Oh, behave. Yeah. Yeah, baby.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah, baby. Austin Powers, yes.
Oh, groovy, baby. Yeah.
No, that's enough.
You see, now
You're scaring away the few people that might be listening.
It inspires you to talk, doesn't it?
It inspires me to do something that will prevent you from doing that.
Oh, you know, going off the subject,
Why are we on a subject?
Yeah, we're talking about our family and our friends,
Okay.
our enemies, all those nice people that we hate and like and love.
Okay.
But I don't know, I guess about last October, before the elections, we came up with an idea. We wanted to form the Coffee Party, sort of, as a spoof on the Tea Party, and we would talk about getting people to go out and vote and do other things like that, and just every power to the people. Everybody has has a vote, and every vote counts. And if it's a local election or national election, it doesn't matter. They're all important. It's more important to go vote, even if you think your vote doesn't count. It actually does. The whole blah, 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 blah. Then we found out, I guess about a month ago, that there actually was a coffee party that was formed in 2010, that actually has a website. And,
They're a lot more professional than us, let's put it that way. They have a blog. They're from Oregon. They are two women, very politically active. I would like to think that from reading some of the things that they put on the air, that they are, I would say, maybe to the left of middle. Certainly not to the right.
I'm not sure. Some stuff. I think they can go either way. That's their whole point.
Well, but they're more centrists, okay? Which is
their whole point is that they're neither Republicans or Democrats.
they point out what's wrong on both sides.
Exactly.
And many people would agree with that. There's not a monopoly on idiots in Congress, okay? But it seems to me that the Republicans have their fair share, I have to admit.
Well, and they say that about the Democrats. It's all your point of view, how you think the government should be, how things should run. There was a panel today, I was listening on actually a Fox channel, of doctors talking about Obamacare. And none of the doctors really put it down too much, especially the Fox channel.
Well, I have to tell you, my nephrologist and I were talking, a young gentleman in his early 40s, I would say, maybe his early 40s, maybe even late 30s. And we were talking, and he was the first doctor, really, that I ever heard say, if people give it some time, it's probably going to work. The nurse practitioners that I go to, neither one of them likes the idea of Affordable Care Act, the Affordable Care Act. They say it limits them in a lot of ways. It makes for a lot of paperwork. But when you think about it, as I've told you, Felix, if more people register, the premiums have to come down. And when the premiums come down, they have to offer better policies. More coverage and better policies.
One of the points that the doctor made, he said it's no more doctor-patient relationship. It's now doctor, middleman, insurance company, patient. Doctors are not allowed to do a lot of things. A lot of these programs don't even have obstetricians on them and other kinds of specialties.
How can you not have an obstetrician?
That's the problem. They don't have them.
If a woman is of childbearing age.
Yep, you got a problem.
I could understand. Let's say, you have to search for an orthopedist. Let's say, you hurt yourself, and you need surgery. You need an orthopedic surgeon. That's one thing. If there's a family history of kidney disease, so you have to be in touch with a nephrologist,
But they're talking about, I think, an area of 130,000 people, 150,000 people had only one type of special in this, no specialist in that.
Well, it's almost a throwback, really, to the Old West, when you had the old family doctor who had to cover like a distance of 200 miles sometimes.
And they're saying, and I don't like Obamacare the way it was set up. I do like the idea of social medical insurance. I don't oppose that at all. But I take a certain medication. I won't say what it is, but it's a pretty well-known medication for a pretty well-known condition. And there are no, I repeat, there are no medications on the formulary for that particular ailment. And you have to get pre-authorized. And the doctor has to tell them why you need to take the medication, because it's an expensive medication. Why should we give it to him? And yes, the condition could be life-threatening when you have it. But that's what the doctors are talking about, where it's just there's now a middle person. What they called them is they actually had a name for them. They were calling them it was not the death sentence squad.
Oh, please, you sound like you're Republican. Death panels? Come
Yeah.
on.
No, it's absolutely true.
Come on.
It's absolutely true.
Okay.
There's a panel that the people determine if I should take this medication or not. It's not the doctor's decision.
Well, for a long time, we've known that insurance companies basically, rule on those things. Insurance companies tell you how long your stay is going to be in a hospital for whatever ails you. I mean, just think, 50 years ago when a woman gave birth, she was in the hospital for 5 days. Now you're out in a day and a half to 3 days. You're gone.
At the same time, the doctors find it necessary, they will stay longer. And the doctor, in the past, hasn't had to call anybody. He just determined that, for whatever reasons, from due to medical necessities, they have to stay. And I don't know how much, and they're saying a lot of their decision-making abilities are taken away. And some of the statistics on the plan are not as good as they expect them to be. They were expected to have 5 million people, new enrollees. They have 4,000, but only a small percentage of them are actually people who didn't have insurance. Just about everybody has been going about Obamacare had insurance before also.
I can't believe that we're talking about this when we're supposed to be talking about friends and family.
Because there's a passion to it.
There is, huh?
Yep. Well, let's go back to family and friends. I'll go back. I have a problem with my family. I only one. I really have a very limited family in the United States. I have a brother here, and then I got another cousin in Texas, but I don't really see him. And my brother's in Virginia, and he's a hermit. He doesn't like to go and visit anybody.
Who, your cousin in Texas?
No, my brother.
No, he just enjoys being home. I mean, I'm sure he would welcome you if you came down with your wife.
Of course he would, but he wouldn't come to visit me.
Well,
and think about it. I think I might enjoy life as a hermit for a couple of years. Just having a TV, anything I want to do, anything I want to eat. Nobody bothers me. Nobody tells me what to do.
Well, that would be strange considering your major in college was transportation. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's, That's neither here nor there. I'm saying,
Well, I have a
I
friend-
don't think I would do it for a long time, but I think sometimes solitude and just being by yourself is very nice. Not because you hate your family or love your family or you have no friends, but sometimes it's just nice to be by yourself.
Well, I know my friend in Florida swears by it. You know, he enjoys his solitude. He's married, but he enjoys his solitude. He enjoys his 10-mile bike rides. You know, he and his wife go dancing. They go to the movies. They go to functions and everything together. But you know, she does what she wants to do. He does what he wants to do. You know, and it suits them well.
And then on the opposite side of it, I have a friend of mine who could never be by himself.
Yeah,
We're not going to mention names.
Oh, okay. I was wondering who that could possibly be.
Yeah, and I'm sure. I mean, he needs a companion at all times. He's married, still not divorced because for whatever reason, I guess he uses his wife's medical insurance, so he won't divorce. He's been separated for 15 years, and he's the only guy that I know that lives with his girlfriend, and before he breaks up with her, he finds another girlfriend to live with.
Oh.
No names. And,
Yeah, but imagine the strain on his so-called wife. I mean, she could never really get serious about anybody because...
Oh, anytime they have an agreement, anytime any of them get serious, they'll get divorced. They've been separated long enough that it's just a signature and it's over with.
Well, you know, it's funny, but I believe they could probably get divorced and she can cover him on her medical for some reason, because I have a friend who is divorced and this friend is covered under their former spouse's medical insurance, and the former spouse has since remarried. Okay, but the former spouse's spouse, since I don't want to mention names, obviously, and it's getting confusing, has his or her own policy. So,
well, again,
it was a stipulation in their divorce that this former spouse would have to cover the ex-spouse.
Oh, that's because it's just something, No, listen, it's a marriage of convenience. And that's all it is.
It's convenient that they stay apart.
It's convenient to be married and staying apart. He gets insurance, he pays, he helps her pay for it, and that's the end of it. No, he lives in one state, she lives in another.
Where does she live? I thought she lived...
She lives in New York.
Oh, so doesn't he?
No, not for the 7 months of the winter.
Oh.
Yeah, Florida, exactly. He finds a girlfriend in Florida to live with in the winter. And I think the girlfriend he's seeing now is also a snowbird, so it's perfect now.
No, that makes it worse for him, because instead of dumping her after 7 months, when she comes back up north, she's expecting him to follow. What's he going to do?
Yeah. No, he'll go with her. He likes to come back to New York in the summertime and all that. And the funny thing is, he used to come and visit me for weeks and weeks at a time. Took me a long time to realize why. He was between girlfriends. He had nowhere to stay. And he did have a home, but he hated his house. He hated who lived there. He rented most of it out, and he had his son living there, and whatever, it's very strange. But, a lot of people, what could I say? A lot of people are just different.
The world is made up of many strange people.
And I don't know who the strangest is. Now, if you have a strange friend or good friend that you want to talk about, you can give us a call at 646-595-3275, or you can join our one-way chat room, because it seems like nobody can.
It's not even one way because we're not typing anything in
I
there.
did once and nobody
I know.
answers me, so I keep seeing Robin. Wait a second, Robin just got on and it shows she's typing. Whoa, we got something going. The chat room is typing.
I thought Robin would have gone to sleep by now.
No, she seems to be stubborn like you. She wants to make sure it's working before she goes to sleep.
Yay, I can chat. Well, good for you, Robin. That's more than we can do here.
Was it hard to figure out? Robin, I'm just going to answer your questions on the air. You could just, that's it. Just keep typing. Oh, it was our computer. It wasn't anything that we did wrong.
Oh, how could it possibly be something we did wrong?
I have
All
no
you
idea.
did is log in.
Yeah, I know. No, I'm glad you could chat. It's more fun that way. It feels like we're having a conversation.
Well, now you hurt my feelings.
No, I mean,
I think you're going to become a friend of me now.
No, we always like to get an outsider conversing with us. This is what this show is made up of. And the other thing, what I'm going to do next. Oh, she needs a new computer. You could take Mark's. It's only 8 years old.
Yeah, really.
What I'm going to do next.
If she doesn't mind having a white line in the middle of the computer,
I'm going to do now is do a voice recognition, so a voice will actually come out on the show. Let's see.
Well, I know she has a notebook that she uses for work. It's smaller and it's easier for her to carry around. What'd she just say? Felix.
What did she just say? She said, "I found that whenever I move the new friends I make become like family."
Well, that's important because you live 600 or 700 miles away from any blood family. I know you live closer to Tim's family now, just about 3 hours away. But you're in the middle of God's country there.
Now, Robin, where do you actually live? What area? I know you know. I want to hear from her. I mean, see. Oh, you could tell me. Gives us, it makes it a little bit more interesting that we're talking to somebody. One-way conversation, anyway. Troy, Ohio. Okay, is Mark? Is that anywhere near Cleveland or Cincinnati or
closer to Cincinnati? Okay, a little further, closer to Cincinnati. I'm not sure if it's equidistant between Columbus and Cincinnati, but Cleveland is about 4 hours away. You have to travel northeast.
It's 1 hour from Cincinnati, 4 hours from Cleveland. Got it.
And about an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half from Columbus, I would say.
What's the population of Troy?
She wouldn't know that.
Sure she would. She's a smart girl.
I think it's 1,200 Baptists and 1 Jew.
Not a lot. Is
true.
Is there a synagogue in town?
What, are you kidding me? No way. No way.
Why? There's synagogues where my brother lives in Virginia.
Well, although I do have to say that when you compare it to some of the places in upstate New York, some of the real small towns, like I told you, my ex-wife lived in Mineville, and her father lived in Witherby, and the bottom line there was he had to travel something like 75 miles to get to a synagogue.
Hey, Robin, does that mean no?
The answer is no.
Well, if you said I make her laugh, I'll say, With the question says, does that mean no? The closest synagogue is 45 minutes away.
That's all right. It gives you 45 minutes to contemplate God's message for the week.
Is that 45 minutes walking or 45 minutes driving?
No, it's 45 minutes driving. Just think, Robin, if you went on a Friday night or a Saturday, you could use the 45 minutes to get home to contemplate the sermon.
No, no, I kind of figured it was driving. That was just basically a...
I know.
No, well, she wrote down driving, so I don't want her to think that I'm that stupid.
Well, we won't go there.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Since you are a doctor and...
But, it is important, though. I know when Robin lived in Massachusetts, she had some real good friends, and it's important that when family's not around, your friends do become your family.
Well, yeah, they replace your family. Listen, we all need somebody. We're not... what's the expression?
What, hermits?
Hermits? No, I mean, there certain animals in the wild kingdom are loners.
Well, man is a very social animal by nature.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, being alone has its advantages, but man is a sociable animal, and for the most part, we crave the company of other people.
Well, she's saying she keeps in touch with her friends in Massachusetts still. Is the relationship fading, though?
You're asking me?
Her.
Oh.
Is your relationship fading with her friends in Massachusetts?
I met some of her friends in Massachusetts. They were nice people.
Well, I'm sure. Why would we or Robin not have nice friends? We're nice people. We'd have nice friends.
Well, you don't know how somebody is until you become friendly and you get to know them, and then you decide if this person could be a friend or they're not really going to be a friend.
That's true. Okay, she answers not for a lot of them.
What does that mean? Not for a lot of them.
Some it's fading, but Facebook helps. Yeah, so just...
Well, that's understandable. I mean, it takes two people to make a phone call, and if you're going to be the only one that's going to be calling up all the time, you get the feeling that,
What's the old expression? It takes two to tango?
Yeah, that too.
And mind you, I don't know how to tango, though. I'm walking away from Mark, or rolling away from Mark, so I couldn't open up a window here. It's getting warm in this room.
Is it really? I actually have my short sleeve shirt on for a change, so...
Yeah, I'm warm. I don't know why.
You're going through your flashes.
I guess. Too close to you, Mark.
It must be.
I never realized I could do this.
Your pheromones,
Yeah. This is pretty cool. I never really thought about this.
We could put distance between us.
The only thing is now, if somebody calls, I can't see anything.
I have to see. Let me read the message, just in case.
Or you can read Robin's messages also.
Robin writes... Actually, Robin Wright is an actress, but Robin writes, I find that if they're a true friend, it doesn't really matter how much time goes by. When I send them a message, text, or call, it's like we saw each other yesterday. That's very true, and that's basically how it is with friends. Sometimes you don't even have to pick up the phone for weeks, but when you do, it's like you just spoke the other day.
It's like he was just standing next to you yesterday. That's true. We all have friends like that.
I got a call from my friend Joel in Florida today, and the first thing I said to him before I even said hello is I said, boy, so you found my phone number again, huh? It's got to be at least 2 weeks since I heard from you, but I know that he was away on business for like 3 days, and then his son came into town. Okay, so he was spending a lot of time with his son, you know. So, I mean, I understand these things.
Well,
But I mean, we always joke about that. He wanted to know whose turn it was to call, you know.
That's the way it is with me and my brother. I told you he lives in Virginia, and if I don't, it's sometimes I just don't call him to see if he'll actually call me. And if I don't call, it takes him at least a week and a half to 2 weeks to actually call me to realize that I haven't called for a while.
Well, I know that with Robin, I try not to bother her on the weekends, but we tend to speak practically every day. And she usually, when she's on her way home from work, she gets into the car and she calls me up, and I'm her usual phone call. And by the time we finish talking, she's just about home, almost home. You know, it helps kill the ride, you know.
I do that with my daughter a lot of times. I'll call, or my brother. That's when I'm driving from work, or when I'm sitting in front of the mall waiting for my wife. I'll make my phone calls then. And luckily for my brother, I go to a lot of malls and I wait a lot, so he gets a lot of phone calls from me. You know, maybe I wouldn't be calling him that much either if it wasn't for that.
Robin said she loves those phone calls. I know, I do too. I look forward to them. You know, I can almost tell when she's going to call, when she has a short day or a long day, you know.
Well, you seem like a wonderful daughter.
Well, I'll tell you, if I had an audience full of Robins, I might go into comedy because she laughs at everything that I say, you know.
Well,
and I'm not saying I'm really a funny guy. I mean, really, in all honesty.
Well, you know, now is she laughing with you or at you?
I don't care as long as the laughs are there, you know, if you want to know the truth. I don't mind making a fool of myself if it's going to be entertaining for somebody, you know. I mean, that's just how I am.
We do that all the time.
And look how popular we are. Our numbers keep dwindling.
Yeah. Well, you know, we haven't done a show like this in a while.
Show about nothing.
Yep.
We should call up Jerry Seinfeld.
Well, let's see. It's very true. And every comedy movie I see is my favorite movie.
Oh, Robin is... If you talk to Robin about movies, Robin will say, this is one of my favorite movies. And I'll say, oh, one of your 1,000,001. I mean, every movie that Robin sees, it's got to be really bad for her to say that she didn't like it. And she loves the animated movies, the pixels and everything, you know.
Yeah.
She's just a big kid at heart. You know, she enjoys going to the kids' movies.
Yeah, they say the new Sesame Street movie is very good. It got a good write-up.
Why wouldn't the Muppets be... I love Kermit and the whole crew.
Well, they said
Fozzie Bear. Fozzie Bear is my idol.
They said a couple of years ago that the last movie they did wasn't as good, but they said this one was very good.
Well, you know why Fozzie Bear is my idol, don't you? Because Fozzie Bear can't tell a joke to save his life.
Well, I don't think he's. We can't either, like you said.
That's
which
what
is
I
what
said.
you're
He's my
implying.
idol, you know?
Where you're implying, obviously. I was going to say speak to yourself, but you know, what's the old saying? I'm as funny as.
By the way, speaking of the Muppet movie, my son Jonathan saw it today and loved it. Said it was great.
No, there's a guy who reviews movies for adults said it's a great movie for adults as well as kids.
Well, you know something? In truth, the Muppet Show was really for everybody. It was a family program back when it was on in the late 70s, early 80s. The bottom line was I remember watching it with my daughters. Okay, and my father, may rest in peace, when my father was alive, he would call up at 8 o'clock because he knew that the girls never really went to sleep. They never really went to sleep early because they were good girls. It was easy for them to be around, you know. So while our friends put their kids to sleep very early, our girls were always up later. And we would watch the Muppet Show, and then my father would ask them questions about the two old men in the balcony or the Swiss chef, You know, I mean, it was just fun.
Well, you know, I don't really see movies much at all. And
Oh, I don't anymore, not at all.
the movies I see is whatever I see on Cablevision. You know,
Exactly.
when the movie is 3 years old, 4 years old, or the newer movies that really suck and they go right on the cable. They don't make.
Well,
it
no,
in
some
theaters.
movies are made strictly for cable. You know,
Yeah.
just like they're made for DVD.
Yeah, but there's a lot of movies that just don't make it, and they go right into the DVD and cable circuit. I mean, you look at some of these movies, you say, how could anybody make a movie that bad? And, I've seen them like that.
Well, you know, there are a lot of movies like that on like the Sci-Fi Network or the Chiller Theater. You know, I mean, some of them are really. There are a couple of good ones, but some of them are really pretty bad.
Well, you know what you should do? You should go to Ohio, make a date, and go see the Muppet movie with your daughter.
Well, I would, but why do I have to travel to Ohio to see it?
To see her, and you guys can see
Well,
the
to
movie
see
together.
her. Actually, we're going to see her in May because she's running on a half marathon
Where?
in the Ohio area. I think in Columbus. And if she's listening, I'm sure she'll give us the particulars.
Yeah.
Yeah, Columbus. That's where it is.
I'm looking forward to seeing the Muppet movie or Columbus. Okay. Look, I've never been to the Ohio. Can't say I've had the pleasure.
Well, you know, it's politically speaking, it's a swing state. You know, they've always talked about Ohio as whoever carries Ohio, just like they talk about Florida. Whoever carries Ohio carries the election. Whoever carries Florida carries the election. That's the way it's, turned out.
Yeah. Well, those are the states that have a little bit of everybody in them. I mean, Florida, the northern part of Florida is as conservative as you're going to get.
Well, the Panhandle, and then if you go out west, that's also Republican, not redneck, but it's Republican territory. It's, the only progressives that you may find in Florida would be on the East Coast, southeast.
Miami.
And Lake Worth and Boynton and Boca Raton and the Delray,
Yeah, we got all
areas like that,
Where all the Jews are.
Well, basically, yeah. I didn't want to say that, but it's true. I've told my cousin more than once. He lives in Sarasota, and he believes like I do. Or I should say he's older, so I believe like he does. We're New York liberal Democrats, and sometimes he will be politely arguing a point with a friend who has a gun on, because these guys wear their guns no matter where they go. And he said, if there were less guns, maybe 26 people wouldn't have died in Newtown, and I said to him, you got to be careful what you say because you'll get the reputation for being that
The
liberal Jew from New York. And he said, I already have that reputation.
Well, first thing, again, I don't believe in gun violence or anything else like that, but there's not a gun law in the world that's going to stop the killings that are happening here.
Well, no. If there were limitations, then you'd like to think that people wouldn't have the access to the weapons. Now, people will argue and say, well, look, some of these weapons, and most of them were registered. But the thing is, very few of them are really gotten illegally. These are people who supposedly pass background checks,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as far as Adam Lanza was concerned, for a shooter from Newtown, his mother was a collector, so she had the guns in her house.
I agree. I understand all that, but what I'm saying is, if you want a gun, you can get one, legal or not. And I think there are more killings by knives than there are guns.
Well, if I was that kind of person, I'd rather bring a gun to a knife fight.
Oh, absolutely.
But I'm not that kind of person, so, you know.
But, that's what, again, I don't think guns make that much of a difference. I think like and I'm sorry to say, like the NRA says, it's not the gun, it's the person that's shooting the gun.
Yeah, but by the same token, they're not doing anything to, as far as background checks. I mean...
Listen, there's so many stupid laws that allow guns to be sold to anybody in these gun shows. I mean, that's silly.
Yeah, I bet if Stevie Wonder wanted a gun, they could probably sell him one.
In the gun show, yeah. Gun show, you don't need... I don't think you need to show anything, any kind of proof in a gun show.
Did you hear what I said?
Yes, I did. I agree with you.
Stevie Wonder.
Yep.
Blind Stevie Wonder.
No.
Okay.
And I said they'll sell it to anybody.
Oh, all right. Right? Let's see. Why does someone need to own, what does it say? A semi-automatic. Well, it's true. Unless you're going to go to war.
Why does somebody need it? Nobody needs to own a semi-automatic.
Even when you go hunting. You certainly don't use a semi-automatic when you're hunting animals. How many shots do you need to kill a deer?
It's probably against the law to use a semi-automatic for hunting anyway.
It's probably cruel and unusual punishment for the animal.
Yeah.
Then why is it available to buy? It's a good question. Because
the
they can sell it and people buy it.
Yeah. Supply and demand. People want it, it gets bought.
It's very true.
And guess what? If they weren't sold, it's very easy to change convert a lot of the guns from single shot to semi-automatic, and you convert a semi-automatic to an automatic. It doesn't require that much work.
Yeah, bring it into a gun shop. If you're willing to spend the money,
The bottom line is we got to find out why people kill. Well, yeah, the law should come in there, but I agree with you. But these murders are never going to stop, just like the murders with knives. These idiots that go around and punch people in the back of the head as a joke.
Oh, that gang initiation.
Gang initiations, all sorts of things. And we have to really... It's just, it's a psychological phenomenon in this country more than most other countries. We just, for some reason, a lot of our people, are nutty and they kill. And I don't know why. The NRA has a famous story. I think it may be in the Netherlands or or Sweden or one of those countries. Every person in that country has a gun because every person in the country is a militia, belongs to a militia. And so everybody has a gun in the closet, and murder rate is non-existent. So the NRA usually uses that as to saying it's not the guns, it's the people, just so you know. I don't know if you ever heard of that. So if you've heard about it, it's more than just the guns. It's great to limit the number of guns in the street, but they're just going to become harder to get. But people will still buy a gun if they need them, just like we buy heroin or coke or whatever else there is. You're right, they're not mentally ill, but if you're a mass murderer, I would think that Robert wrote over here, but not everyone who has a gun and uses it is mentally ill. I don't know how else you could justify killing a whole bunch of children unless you are something wrong with you mentally, and then you kill yourself. There's definitely something wrong with you. I don't know. And the individual killings, people, a husband kills wife, a wife kills husband, if they don't kill him with a gun, they'll find a different way. If you hear this, it's a train passing by Long Island Railroad. My wife's friend's mother killed her father. She poisoned him. She bludgeoned him with her hammer and stabbed him like 50 times. She didn't need a gun. So I don't know. And I mean, why do people kill? I couldn't go hunting. I couldn't kill anything. A deer hunting. I can't step on a cockroach most of the time. Even though I guess I will kill a mosquito when it's biting me, but otherwise I don't really. I let animals or bugs or whatever else is out my window. I don't squash them. It's just not my nature. But Mark over here, he's got a different thing. He'll kill a fly with his hand, with a newspaper. He doesn't care. Would you kill a mouse?
I've done it, but I think they're so cute, but no one in my family thinks they are,
Well,
let's put it this way. If I caught a mouse in the house and it was still alive in the trap, I would put it out of its misery, yes. But personally, when you look at them, they're so cute. You're not talking about a rat, you're talking about a mouse.
Yeah, okay, let me just read this. I think the problem is you don't hear about those stories as much as you hear about people killed with guns. Maybe that's why there is a lot of gun talk.
Well,
There's a lot of gun talk because of the NRA, because they're very defensive of their guns.
Well, it's not only that. I mean, you pick up a newspaper at least a few times a month, and you read about, people being killed in a mugging, shooting, something happening, I mean, it's terrible. That's what turns people off really from watching the news.
Yeah. Well, do you know how many people, there's so many things. There's so many people die of car accidents, which is not murder, obviously, but I think it is murder when the person involved is drunk. Or
vehicular homicide, they call it. And unfortunately, there's a limit to how long that person can actually be incarcerated. They they suspend their license and they put them in jail, but when they get out, they can retake their driving test or whatever they have to do to get their license back, unless it's stipulated that they never drive again.
Yeah. No, but I was just saying, there's so many people that die with knife wounds and other ways besides guns. There's more with murders. There are more murders in this country with other things other than guns.
That's true.
And
the problem is with a gun, okay, you can kill many more people at one time.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
the problem.
Yeah,
With a knife, you can only kill one person at a time.
yeah, but in general, Robin before said maybe that people that use the guns are not mentally ill. I can't see somebody that's shoots up a mall or a school and then shoots himself and he's not mentally ill. He's got to, come on.
You won't get an argument from me.
Now you get somebody a guy shoots his wife for revenge, or there's plenty of gang wars and stuff like that where people kill each other.
But I was talking with, or I happened to mention this to my sister, Tina, who works in Manhattan for Women's Wear Daily. She works for a subsidiary of Condé Nast, and we were talking about the suicide of Loren Scott. And I said to my sister, I said, suicide is not the action of a normal person. Okay, there's got to be something wrong with you. But my favorite line is that suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. All problems can be solved. It depends how hard you want to work on it.
Well, yes, I guess.
No, really, think about it. It's a permanent solution, namely you end your life.
Yeah.
So you have no more problems to a temporary problem.
Mostly, but there are times when people do commit suicide because they're dying and there's a lot of pain.
All right, I was going to say, the exception being people who are terminally ill.
Yeah.
People who have Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS, and they know it's a progressive disease, it's only going to get worse, and eventually it will kill them to the point where they won't even be able to breathe anymore on their own. They won't be able to function. They don't want to live like that, okay? Or if somebody is facing a very painful death due to cancer, and there is no treatment, okay, they take it for as long as they can, and then they figure out a way to end their life.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, but and one of the ways may be with a gun too. Listen, as I said, if there's a will, there's a way.
Very true.
But again, on mass murderers, I can't see it done any other way than a gun, unless it's a bombing or something else. And that's random.
The other thing that you think about as far as suicide is concerned, with the exception of what you were talking about before with people who are terminally ill, a decision that they make, when someone commits suicide, what about those you leave behind? You leave family and friends. I mean, we're talking about family and friends. You're leaving family and friends behind, and they have to question, why did you do it? What's the purpose? Was it something maybe that they did wrong? Or maybe they weren't there for you,
Yeah. Robin, by the way, I know you didn't mean mass murderers, obviously, but as I said, but I think of the non-mass murderers, if they don't use a gun, if they really want to commit their murder, they'll find a different way. Poison, stabbing, there's plenty of ways to kill somebody.
Well, I once did a paper for...
Hire a hitman.
That's true. I did a paper in college when I took philosophy. And the topic was, is suicide ever morally justifiable? Okay, and one of the poems that I used is the poem Resume by Dorothy Parker. And it happened to be a woman who was leaving a letter to her husband, her family, giving him instructions about what to do with the children and everything, And, that was the gist of her letter. But Dorothy Parker wrote a poem, as I said, razors pain you, rivers are damp, acid stain you, drugs cause cramp, guns aren't lawful, nooses give, gas smells awful, you might as well live. when you start to think about all the different ways, as she mentions, that one can kill himself or herself and how painful they are, you might as well just live and try to solve your problems.
What I'll be curious about, and I don't have the answer, and I don't know if you, Robin, or Mark have, of all the individual type murderers, not the mass ones, which we agree are people that are insane, how many of them are family, and how many are friends, and how many of them are enemies? To bring it back to our topic.
Well, there's the usual amount of robberies gone wrong where someone is killed and then it's not really murder, it's considered manslaughter because it's a mistake. You didn't want to kill somebody, or if you push somebody down and they hit their head, that's manslaughter, it's not murder. In the commission of a crime.
I'm talking people that kill. Are there more people killing family members, non-family members?
Well, I think when...
Or people they...
If you have a husband and wife who aren't getting along and one of them discovers that the other one is possibly having an affair and you confront the supposedly unfaithful spouse, if there's a gun in the house or a knife and if you're pushed against the wall, so to speak, you push just so far... you take as much as you can, and then you lash out. But then, that's not a solution because...
No, I didn't say solution. I'm just trying to figure out what kind of, what's the most amount of murders? What are they?
Well, I don't think it's friends because if friends have a disagreement, you just go your separate ways.
I would think family.
Well, I agree. That's why I agree.
Which is sad. Probably husband and wives are the worst.
Well, that's what I said.
Yeah. So, but there is a thing called divorce, separation.
I remember, being a former English teacher, I love to read cards. I know Robin's favorite is Snoopy, but I love to read cards and see what it says. And, this one was titled on the outside, it says divorce. Okay, and you open it up, and it says, it used to be you could kill the bastard, or it used to be you could kill the bitch, depending upon whether you were talking about a man or a woman. If it was a guy getting divorced and you were sending it to a friend, you would say, well, you used to be able to kill the bitch, meaning the woman. And if it was a woman sending it to a woman, they would say divorce. You open it up and it says you used to be able to kill the bastard, that's how things used to be settled back in the day.
Well, now it's divorce, which is probably a little bit more civil way, except if you listen, I guess, to the Roman Catholic.
Well, look at Jackie Gleason, for example. Jackie Gleason remained married to his wife, but they hadn't been together for almost 30 years toward the end of his life. He was living with her. He had a girlfriend who was just like his, she was practically his wife, The church said you can't get divorced, so they were married for life, but they carried on with somebody else. They had two lives, two families.
Is that any worse than getting divorced? I don't think so.
Well, it has to do with the religion because, let's face it, if you got divorced and you were Catholic, you were excommunicated. You couldn't be buried in hallowed ground, so you couldn't get last rites, you couldn't go to heaven. It's a whole thing, But, having a wife and having a mistress / girlfriend / wife, second wife, you're doing the same thing. You're supporting two families.
Listen, if you're not, if your church doesn't believe in it, become a Baptist or whatever church meets your needs.
Become an esoteric minister.
An esoteric minister. No, they believe in chopping heads if you get divorced.
Really? Well, depending upon whose head it is, you put it on a spike, and it certainly sends a message. Now, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. Anyway, I think on that note, What do you think, Robin? You think we've had an... Let's see what she wrote. It was nice chatting, but it is way past my bedtime.
That's very true. I know what time you go to sleep.
And I was just going to say to you, Robin, what do you think? Is it time to cut off the conversation and start wrapping it up?
Yeah, I think we're groping at straws, personally.
Yeah, I think, Robin, you really helped out.
But, Robin, I was going to say, I'm very glad that you found a way to communicate with us through the chat room, and it will be open from time to time. I know Mondays, you're not really listening because you have work early the next day, but certainly on a Friday, if you're not working on the next day, that would be perfect.
I will do this more for Fridays. Great.
Well, I insist, don't do it on... You get such little sleep anyway, Robin, I wouldn't want to take precious time away from your pillow, in all honesty.
But, I think it's... The chat mode was always available to us since we've gone on Block Talk Radio. I just never turned it on.
Well, one of the other things we've never really checked out,
Yeah, and also Spreaker has it, but I haven't even looked to see how to do it on Spreaker because I have enough trouble keeping up with one chat room and the phones, no less trying to read a second chat room.
Yeah, very true, very true. But thank you again, Robin, for sharing your thoughts with us.
It was a pleasure.
And we know we'll see you dropping in from time to time, usually on a Friday. That's perfect. And I know you will listen on Tuesdays to our podcast, so it'll help you drive to work.
Just don't let her put you to sleep.
No, that's not a problem. Robin's problem is getting to sleep.
Yeah, well, maybe you should listen to our show at nighttime before you go to sleep.
That might work.
You never know.
It's funny. I was telling one of the nurse practitioners, she knows I have trouble falling asleep. So I said, I've been listening to my tapes. I have the Bible on tape. So she said, well, that should be enough to put you to sleep,
Just so you know, Robin just wrote, always a pleasure, night. I look forward to it, talking to us. So that's great. It was very nice having a real chat with somebody.
It's nice to know that at least one member of my family is supportive. Okay.
Yeah, well, what we got to do from now on is just don't even call, but start threatening the rest of your family that would have called during the show.
Nah, they know we're not going to do it.
Why?
Because I wouldn't. Well, I know Jonathan didn't feel well today, so he didn't get much sleep. I don't know if it's the changing weathers and everything, but he had a real bad headache. And Josh is working. He's patrolling the streets of Brooklyn.
So he could definitely get a phone call or two. He's sitting in a bodega in the back.
No.
Coffee.
The sergeants check up on him, believe me. No, I wouldn't even give it a chance. No way.
They don't sit in the back anymore having a cup of coffee
No.
in the bodega?
No, they have to call in when they're going off time, when they're taking time for a cup of coffee or for a meal. They have to call in and say that where they are and how long they're going to be in there eating, and they have to call back when they're ready to resume patrol.
Is that something new?
No, it's been that way for a while. But they crack down on it,
Yeah, because I know, not necessarily your son, but I know other officers who are known to go in the back of a bodega, have a cup of coffee.
Well, it's not only that. Then you have those people who drive around in patrol cars who will conveniently park down a dark alley and catch an hour or so nap, and then go back and continue to patrol. So, but Josh is walking the beat.
Yeah.
Whether it's snowing, raining, sub-freezing weather. Usually in very bad weather, they ride around in a van. The sergeant takes a couple of them around in a van, and occasionally he'll be driving his sergeant around, but for the most part, he's pounding the beat,
Before we sign off, I'm sure most people heard of this story, but we're going to talk about me. Mark and I want to talk about it for a few minutes. The young kid, 16 years old, who went up to the top of the World Trade Center. Did you hear about that?
No.
You didn't?
Today?
Yeah. He snuck in through a door. And it's not open yet. The elevator operator gave him a ride to the top. The guard that was there on top was sleeping. This kid went around him. He went all the way to the top, climbed up all the way to the top of the World Trade Center, and stood up there for 2 hours and was taking pictures.
Did he expect to see King Kong or something? I don't know.
No, he's just a daredevil, and he took pictures.
Wow.
And then
16.
When he came down, his friends from the Port Authority police were there waiting for him and arrested him.
Well, that's what they do.
Yeah. But now the big deal is, how did this 16-year-old kid do it with ease? Ease.
Well, you said the elevator operator took him up so far.
Yeah.
Okay, and then when the elevator went down, he probably found the doorway for the stairs leading up wasn't locked. Okay, and
there was a guard sleeping. He just walked right by him.
Okay.
So just saying now the same thing a terrorist could do and blow up the building again. Absolutely no security.
I wonder if that security guard's going to have his
He
job.
got fired.
Well,
The security guard got fired. Then they found out that none of the internal cameras
we're working.
were working in the building.
Yeah, who are they going to fire for that?
So
Security is supposed to check those things.
in other words, we didn't learn much from the first World Trade tragedy, unfortunately. That it's so easy for a kid who...
No, but you still have to take your shoes off when you board a plane, you know.
I mean, this kid didn't break anything, didn't use any blunt instruments, didn't do anything to break in. He walked in, literally walked in through a hole in the gate, walked right through and got it right up to the top. But, come on, this is...
I would have passed out from being so high up and being outside, my God.
But imagine that. This is supposed to be our, the World Trade Center. What do they call that? World One now?
Yeah.
World Trade. This should be the safest and the most secure building in the world. And the 16-year-old kid just walked in.
Hey, is the Eiffel Tower secure and safe? Is the Sears building in Chicago secure and safe? Is the Needle in Seattle? Is that
most of them are? They have,
or the Arch in St. Louis?
Most of the buildings are secure. They have, they have gun detectors. They have metal detectors. But this building was closed. It's completely gated. It's not open.
Well, I think I'm going to have a family reunion up there, talking about friends and family.
It's not open to the public, this place. And this kid, he had a grand old time.
Yeah, they'll probably wind up charging him admission.
Yeah. So now, a lot of people are calling him a hero already because he showed the faults with security there. I mean, not one camera in that whole building was working.
Well, that's the Port Authority police, and they're controlled by New Jersey.
No.
Okay?
No, they're not.
Port Authority?
Port Authority is a joint operation, New York State, New York, and New Jersey. It's a joint.
Okay, well,
venture.
I wonder who is in charge of that, because I'm sure heads will have to roll.
Well,
some poor schnook is going to be made the scapegoat. You know that.
The guard, obviously, for sleeping, but then again, this guard is on the 90th floor with a building that nobody goes into because they're not allowed to go in there, and he's supposed to sit in this post all day long. He's probably just dozing off, and this kid just walked behind him and went right through. And, I'm sure he's making $8 an hour, and, they pay him to sit there, and that's what he did, sit there. Anyway.
Well, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for your support tonight. If it wasn't for Robin, it would have been cut short by at least a half hour, if not more. What can I say? We tried to put together a show, not too successfully.
Well, I think we had a good show, and the dogs are on now, and they're telling you, Mark, it's time.
It is time, you know. Well, the weather is nice, so I don't mind leaving them outside, so to speak. You know,
Don't be mean now.
I'm not being mean. It's nice weather.
It is a nice weather.
But, ladies and gentlemen, you have a good weekend.
And for Mark and I'm Felix, have a good night, and thank you for listening.